Yeah.
Sometimes I get that.
Yeah. Hi, Sasha. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Arji. Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening. So, friends, thank you for taking out time and joining us this evening for the second session of Lakshmi Saraswati Durga. We are discussing Lakshmi today. And the session today is second part. Hopefully, we should be able to wrap it up, and then with Lakshmi today, and we will start with Saraswati next time, which is on 29th of January, and we will conclude this LSD program on 5th of February. The AMA sessions will be on 18th, which is this Sunday, 29th, and then 1st and 8th February. So this is the schedule for the upcoming sessions. The details for Stress to Smiles will be shared later. We have Aparna joining us today. Aparna, are you comfortable coming on camera and sharing a bit about yourself to the other participants? All right, all right. Maybe in the next break. So what we discussed last time was financial goals. You know why it is important to set financial goals, and so we also discussed some examples, common examples of financial goals, which include children's education, children's marriage, retirement. It could be vacations, buying a house, down payment of a house, whatever it is. It is important for us to set goals and then work towards them. And a common experience is that when we set goals, they seem to be very large, and what we are able to contribute towards achieving that goal seems to be very small at this moment. But what is more important is to get started with the process, and once people get started with the process, then sooner than later, they hit those goals. So what I'm trying to say is the most important thing is to estimate your goals and then start working towards that. Don't get daunted by the gap between where you are now and where you want to go. Then we discussed the most stable structure. Anyone remembers what is the most stable structure? Most stable financial structure that we discussed about.
Yes,
Pyramid.
yes. It is at the pyramid. Investment at the top and emergency and so
Insurance at the bottom. Yeah. So the most stable financial structure is one where we have insurance at the bottom and emergency savings, and then savings, and then mutual fund and shares and equities and everything else. This is important because we start accumulating wealth without understanding the importance of protecting the wealth. So the most important asset, the income generating asset, is our life and our health. And if this itself is not protected, all the wealth that we have created or are in the process of creating may itself be risky. The other insurances are cybersecurity insurance, and then we spoke about the need for creating emergency fund. And the beauty of creating emergency fund is once you create it, the emergency does not come. Golden rule of personal finance. Anyone remembers what was the golden rule of personal finance? Or what is the golden rule of personal finance? Somesh, Sasha.
Yeah, income minus saving is equal to expenditure.
Beautiful. So we need to first commit our income or a part of our income to the goals that we have, and then spend. This was very easy to do in the time of my parents because there was no credit card, which you could use to spend above your income. So in my parents' time, it was very easy to follow this. Whatever income comes, you are limited to spending that. But today's time, the spending has been delinked to income because of credit cards. So how do we get back to that? What are some measures of expense control, and why expense control is so important? And even saving 100 rupees a day can create a fortune, incremental crore plus kind of fortune. So that is what we discussed in the golden rule of personal finance, and this is also what helps rich keep getting richer, because the poor use their income to meet their expenses or pay off the liabilities, whereas the rich use their income to. Anybody would like to complete the sentence? What do rich use their income for?
Investment.
They use it for creating assets that generate income. So it becomes a virtuous cycle. Income comes, you use that to create assets which generate more income. So that is what the first session was. And we finished with what is the decision you will take, and I would like and you to share what was the decision you have taken, what is it that you have done differently from last week till now basis what we learned in session 1. Anyone would like to share? Yes, Gaurav.
Uh,
Someshi.
yeah, Ashish, I think one idea went down very well with me is the SIP thing. Though this SIP is not new to me, I have been doing SIPs for years. But the thing is that I did the SIP and I withdraw the funds also.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't generate wealth because whenever the funds were needed, especially in the large amount, I used to dip in my SIPs and take the funds out from that. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, I am planning to do it again. Currently, not probably from this month, but from next month, probably I will start some SIPs.
Very
Because
nice. And
one thing which I have noticed, yeah, one thing I have noticed is that SIP is a very good thing, and it has the ability to create a huge wealth for you,
absolutely.
provided provided you use that for the purpose which you have created the SIP. If you here and there now and then dip into the SIP, then there is no point in that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm so glad that you brought this up, Sumesh, because that exactly is the point for creating emergency fund. So once we create emergency fund, then our wealth creation does not get disrupted. It is not, it is quite. It happens in life that we have some unanticipated, unexpected expenses, and then emergency fund becomes the kitty from which we draw it, rather than stop over SIP, which interrupts the process of wealth creation. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Gaurav,
Thank you,
Vasudev,
Ashish.
yes, thank you. Gaurav, Vasudev, anything you would like to share?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The one decision that I had taken last time was, although it was not in my plan, to increase my by looking at that every day I can forget 330 rupees without any
Mhm.
problem. So I decided to work on and add 1000 rupees in my existing SIP.
Very nice. Very
So
good.
for that, I connected to my financial the SIP team gives some person, they call it as investment coach. So I had a 1.5 hour discussion about the existing, what I have to do with that existing investments, and also I have added upon 1000 based on her feedback on
Yeah.
whatever was said.
It is not 1000 rupees, Vasudev, it will be 50 lakh rupees, over a period of time. So, 1000 rupees looks small, but 50 lakhs is a sizable amount, once you have that kitty. So, thank you for sharing that. Uh, Aparna, are you ready to share? And then we'll dive into our current session today. So,
Hi,
hi.
Ashish.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm actually just setting up. There's a little
All
bit
right,
of
sure.
tech trouble with the laptop, but I can share during the next break
All
whenever you
right.
set that up.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. So take a couple of minutes reflecting on what is happening in your life because how you manage money. You know, like Somesh mentioned, that every time something happens, we dip into our savings, and that disrupts our wealth or investments rather. That disrupts. So, what is it? How are we managing our money, and how is that playing out in our life? Is there something that I am avoiding or postponing? Uh, Kudos to each one of you for taking out time to come for and learn about Lakshmi. But is there something else that you may be putting off, that may be impacting your Maybe it's taking an insurance. Vasudev has increased his SIP. Anything else? Somesh is in the process of doing that. And what one habit, if changed, will create the biggest shift for you? Yes, Gaurav.
I would like to add here about the one habit. Uh, uh, I smoke a bit, not a bit, a lot. So probably I would be start not started do. I have started already doing it. So to cut down one smoke in the morning and one smoke in the evening. So
Ah,
the one before the I go to sleep and one that I smoke when I wake up. So to do that, I am trying to do some deep breathing and trying to just postpone it as long as I can.
yeah.
So that is something that I am trying to do.
Very nice. That's 50 rupees a day, 1500 in a month, and over a period of time that will be like 75 lakh rupees. So big thing, Gaurav. And also, uh, not smoking just before your sleep will improve your quality of sleep, which also impacts your ability to function better in the coming day.
Yes,
Just on this note, I would like to share that this Saturday we are having a sleep meditation at 10 p.m. on Saturday. And all you need to do is come log in into the session, lying down on your bed, and you can go to sleep listening to what I am sharing in the meditation, and you will have good sleep hopefully, and you will wake up fresh and energized. So that is what we are doing this Saturday. Feel free to share the invite with your friends who would like to join. So thank you. Sorry. Okay. So now we come to the second part of the session where we are going to be talking about the basics of personal finance. And it may look, it is basic, but the impact they have when we start understanding this is very, very powerful. So we'll begin by understanding income. Income, we know that what we earn is income, and there are different categories of income: salary, business profit, speaking, training, consulting, any side hustle you may have, dividends, interest, rent, royalty. Is there any other source of income that one may have which is not covered here? You can type in the chat or unmute and speak. Please.
the it might be included in side hustle, but short-term trading or AI-based trading or something like
Yeah,
that.
sure. So I have put capital gains, which will include trading,
Yes.
short term, long term trade, right? Now, what we need, I would like you to share with me which of these incomes is active income or passive income. And the definition of active income is I need to work and I need to be there. If I am not there, like training, this is being done live. So if I am not delivering this training live, then it is, if I am doing this training live, then it is an active income. But if I put this, I record this session and put it up on my LMS, somebody comes and buys the program and pays, then it becomes passive income, right? So active, I need to be there. Passive is income which happens even when I am sleeping, right? So which of these are active incomes and which of these are passive income? Please unmute and speak or type in the chat.
Here is the passive or the dividends,
Passive
interest,
is dividend, interest is
interest,
dividend. Thank you.
yeah, royalty, rent,
Royalty,
and the
rent is all
uh,
passive. Thank you for sharing that.
training and coaching, consulting. All these are passive if we have recorded and put it on YouTube, or we are selling some courses online,
Yeah.
which I am also
Yes.
trying to do, to make some courses on financial plan and put it on the website
Yes.
or the
Yes.
YouTube link.
Very nice. Thank you for
So that
sharing
is
that.
passive
Yeah.
income. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Anybody else? Any views? Does everybody agree with Monica or is there a different view? Now, so we understand
Uh,
that,
Ashish,
yes. Yes, Sumesh.
yeah, I was saying that active income is an income wherein you have to work hard physically. wherein you have to, go to office or go to your workplace or go to your business and do work. Passive income is something wherein you don't have to do anything, but except that will generate on its own, like dividend, like interest. You have
Yes,
to just
yes,
invest the money and the money will start flowing in.
yeah.
So
So
that could be
yes,
one of the differentiators.
correct. Active is काम करो बार बार, passive is काम
Yes,
करो एक बार, income comes बार बार, So
right.
you write a book and then a royalty will keep coming. You invest in a rent, you invest in a property, rent will keep coming. You invest in
Yes.
shares, it will keep coming. So that is active and passive. And the other thing I would like you to take note of is about the multiple sources of income. When I was working, my major source of income was salary, right? And I had little bit of rental income and little bit of dividend interest, etc. But not many other sources of income. And it so happens that when September 11 happened, 2001, I was working with an insurance broking company, and overnight the stock markets all over the world tanked. And the broking companies usually don't have much capital to sustain. They just survive on the broking income which happens. And when the broking income goes down because the trades have gone down or the values have gone down and brokerage comes down, then they can't sustain much. So overnight, they closed down the Pune branch which I had set up, and I found myself without a source of income. So the multiple sources of income is very important. Whether we have one source of income, five sources of income, 10 sources of income, how many sources of income we have, and how de-risked our income strategy is. If my major source of income is only one, then I'm at a risk. And post this experience, what I did was I built on this again triangle, which is my favorite, most stable structure. And I have now I have three major sources of income and over 10, small sources of income. So that is how we worked. So we will get to an exercise on that. So I'm not stopping here for that, but we will do an exercise on this. And expense is what we spend. And there are different heads of expenses: rent, salary, EMIs, credit card payments, necessities, entertainment, holidays. And what we now come to is the most important part possibly of the session today, which is the money jar part. This is a major challenge with many people: how much to spend on what. And there are people who feel guilty spending money on themselves because most of the times they're spending money for the family or saving money for the family, or we are spending everything that we are earning and we are not saving enough. There are different things that different people do, but this framework which I learned from Millionaire Mind Intensive is one of the best frameworks that I have seen, and I have seen people practice it. I practice it myself, and even you have a rupee or 100 rupees and you start following this framework, you are bound to be bountiful. There is absolutely no two ways about it. Now let me explain a little bit about what this money jar is. It says there are three major ways to plan our outflows. 50% of that should go to necessities, and we will delve into each one of these deeper. 30% into financial freedom fund and future expenses, and 20% into education, which is self. Education for children will come in necessities. Education for self, which is what all of you have invested in, and play jar and gifts and charity is about 20%. So what, as per you, constitutes necessities? Can you please type in the chat which is, as per this money jar, or as per the ideal money jar, 50% should be our necessities, but we'll come to percentages later. What constitutes necessities for you? Please type in the chat what constitutes necessity for you. Hello, Rosina. What are our needs? What are our expenses that we can't live without? We have to do that. So, what are the necessities for you?
Roti,
Food,
kapda,
house,
makan.
clothes, medical, yes. Roti, kapda, makan. Home, yes. Okay. Milk, maid, petrol, grocery, vegetables, very right. Okay.
Investment.
Investment will maybe come in financial freedom or future expenses, child education, phone bills. Very nice, very nice. So, all of you are with me. Last time when we did this session, there were a lot of questions which came up on what constitute necessities. So, I've just made this slide, and this may vary from people to people, but you can let me know if you agree with this or you disagree with this. Grocery, milk, vegetables, fruits, children's education, EMIs, electricity, travel, commuting, insurance premium, term, health, car, utilities, like gas bills, etc. Society maintenance charges, medicines, healthcare expenses, salaries to servants, and society maintenance, flat maintenance charges, etc. Is there anything you think which is there which has not been covered in this? EMI, education fees, yes, right. Now the
Your pet.
pets, your pets also very nice, beautiful. Gaurav, you have two, one.
Yeah, I have one. That's why.
One pet or two pets?
One pet.
One pet, okay. Yeah, pets, of course. So, with these, what we need to understand or pay attention to is there are fixed expenses, right? And there are variable expenses. Like if you're staying on a house which is on rent, rent is a fixed expense or a variable expense? Type F or V in the chat.
Fixed expenses.
Fixed, right? Food, grocery, milk, vegetable, is it fixed or variable? You can type V. Uh, Food, grocery, milk, vegetables is fixed or variable? It would be it may be semi-fixed or variable because you can consume more or less of vegetables. You can, rent is not variable. Yeah, so much. Yeah, it can be fixed and variable both. But these expenses, children's education would be fixed. Electricity will be fixed or variable? Yeah,
Variable.
yeah, it will be variable, right? And then insurance premiums,
Fixed.
Incremental.
it's fixed. It's fixed, right? Now you get some idea of when you do this expense classification. There are some fixed expenses about which we have little control over. So when we talk about expense control, it is expense control over variable items or semi-variable items or semi-fixed items, not fixed items. Fixed items we can be careful, like I don't increase my lifestyle so that I don't have another car which will have fixed expenses of insurance, maintenance, etc., so on and so forth. Some fixed, some variable. So fixed, we have to be very careful about what we are committing to whenever we have expenses. Gym will also be fixed. Financial freedom fund, like Sasha was mentioning, whatever SIPs that you are doing, systematic investment plan, that will be for contribution towards your financial freedom plan. Okay. And here the money jar concept says that 30% of our income should go into financial freedom fund and future expenses. Future expenses will include gadgets, cars, phones, laptops, anything that you want to buy. It could be holidays or it could involve down payment for your home. And then something which I really love, which is learning, play, and giving, right? And I really love this quote from Jim Rohn, which says that formal education will make you a living, but self-education makes you a fortune. So all of you are have invested in your self education. That is why you are here. So the examples of learning are SLP program that you are a part of, coaching programs that you sign up for, or coaching mentoring programs, or any other certifications. Now, play is something which is underrated but highly important, because we tend to put ourselves last. We put everybody else. We put our parents ahead of us, we put our pets ahead of us, we put our families ahead of us, but we rarely do anything about ourselves. So, this play money, which has to be a minimum of 5%, and I'm saying this very carefully, minimum of 5% of your income should be towards something which rejuvenates you. This rejuvenation could be a cup of coffee in a Leela, or it could be a Subway sandwich, or MacD, or whatever, or a movie, or a stand-up comedy show, whatever that is. That is something that you do for yourself, which is your me time, something which you put away. We tend to put away this, and this is something which, when we put ourselves last, it is not a wonder that the entire universe will put you last. So it is very important, by way of this 5% spending, that you put yourself ahead of everybody else and say that I am committed to taking care of myself. Are you with me? I'll pause here to hear from you if this is making sense for you. How's this going for you? If you have any questions or comments so far. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Gaurav. Please type MS if it is making sense to you. Thank you, Monica. Was Yeah, thank you, Gaurav.
Things which can be added.
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying about the expenses thing.
Hmm.
Nowadays, we have something called entertainment expenses also,
Hmm.
wherein we subscribe to a lot of OTT channels,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we go out and watch movie in in theaters, in multiple multiplexes and all these things. So
Hmm.
that is also one of the core expenses these days. We
Correct.
go out to have
Yes,
we go
eating
out to
out,
have
eating out. Yeah.
drinks and dinners with
Hmm.
friends and family and all
Yes,
these
yes,
things.
yes. Definitely. Thanks for bringing that up, Someshi.
Yes.
So, what is very important is, play jar is for you. It is not obligatory. This is time that you take out for yourself. Okay. Now, moving forward. So the other important things are gifts and charity. Charity is giving back, which makes giving contributing to the society. The society makes it possible for us to live and earn. We don't realize it, but mm, if we don't have the roads and hospitals and people who clean the roads and people manage the signals and so on and so forth, nothing would be possible. So it is giving back to the society. And it's may not be it may be money, but could be other things also. So 50% towards necessities, 30% towards future wealth, and 20% towards play, learning, and giving. Now, I'll request you to take a couple of minutes, and maybe 5 minutes, and evaluate what percentage of your current spend is going towards this. You don't have to share with us unless you're comfortable doing so. And this 50-30-20 is more directional, it is not a rule. Okay. And most of the times when we start doing this exercise, you may find that you are at 90% at necessities, and 10% at future wealth, and 0% at play, learning, or giving, or in any other combination. But like I always
There's
say,
110% at necessities.
sorry,
110% as at necessities.
110% necessities. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That is why the golden rule also becomes very important.
Yes,
So
yes.
for that, this is a very powerful framework for us to start looking at where our money is going. My income, where is it going? And when you look at the expenses, like the entertainment expenses, so interestingly brought out by Somesh, is a variable expense. So there is very little we can do about fixed expenses or semi-fixed expenses. But variable expenses offer us that opportunity to contain, maybe I'm just speaking generally, make help us come down from 10% to 100%. So we need to see what are the top 10 items, where is my maximum spend going, and then classify it as fixed and variable, and then see what is the control we can have on variable. So please take 5 minutes and classify this. And
I
if
have
you're
one
comfortable,
question.
yes, Vasudev.
If you see the insurance, this comes under necessity or it comes under future wealth?
Very good question. So insurance, which is annually payable and does not result into savings, like your term insurance, car insurance, health insurance, will all be part of necessities. But
Oh,
insurance that is towards your endowment, ULIP insurance, which is building a corpus for you, annuities, pension, will all be financial freedom fund.
so
Yeah. 2 more minutes, and you need not be accurate, but broadly, what percentage of your income is going into necessities, future wealth? If you want to clarify anything, please do so. If you want to share anything,
The
could you
timeline.
share the future wealth slide again? Yes, I'll do that. There's not much like this one you said, Aparna, or the other one, Madhava. Yeah. So financial freedom fund and future expenses is 30% put together. Future expenses is towards expenses which we anticipate will come. Like I want to upgrade my iPhone, or I need to change my laptop, or buy a new car, or have to plan for a vacation, or a down payment for my house, is all future expenses for which I need to save. And financial freedom fund is investment, okay, which I am doing for creating my financial security in the future. Very nice, very nice. Wow, very
Can
nice, very nice.
I
Very
had
happy to.
done this exercise. Yes,
Who's Gaurav? Are you speaking?
yes, yes, yes.
Hmm.
I had done this exercise somewhere 2, 3 years back,
Hmm.
wherein I had put in all the expenses that are necessary and this thing.
Okay.
Uh, can I just share my screen for a minute or so?
Sure,
Not
sure,
for
please.
even for a minute,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
if
sure,
it's
sure.
so.
Let me stop sharing. Thanks for sharing, Aparna. Hmm. Very nice.
So this I had done कि monthly क्या क्या expenses है अपने.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, you have an aquarium also.
And
Very good.
then yearly also I had done.
Very nice. This is brilliant. It's important to do
Mobile
both.
recharge.
Yeah. It's this is your budget or this is your expense, Gaurav?
So basically, I had done a budgeting kind of a thing.
Good, 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 good. So very nice. Thanks for sharing this. So it's very important
Yes,
for us to budget monthly and annual both, and that brings a lot of
yes,
clarity.
yes.
And then you can, And one thing that you can do is because most of the payments these days are digital, you can take your bank statement at the end of the month and download it in Excel format, not in a PDF format. And against that Excel, you can track it. So, in case you find it difficult to be so particular like Gaurav is in planning everything, then just download your bank statement in an Excel and plot against what item you're spending how much. Thank you for that. Yeah, very nice, very nice, very nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Aparna. Thank you. So now, please reflect. Is there something that is coming up for you? Having done this exercise, is there something that is coming up for you? Are you feeling imbalanced in some area? What surprised you? Is there something you? Frankly, I'm surprised that Gaurav is such a meticulous, taking such a meticulous care. Not many people do the budgeting like Gaurav has done. Any surprise that has come up for you? Any new learning? Anything you feel out of balance?
I have learned from this exercise कि
Yes.
अगर if limited money do you have, but you want to invest on yourself, like on to learn something new. So I cut across my expense on watching movies in theater.
Beautiful, lovely, so nice. That this kind of clarity can completely change your future. You know, not only your future but the future of your families also. I'll just pause here to see if you have any questions or comments before on the 50-30-20 before we move on to the next part, which is the assets part. So we have done income, we have done expenses. Now we'll move to assets. Yes, Gaurav.
Financial planning. When should we do it? From a uh, time perspective, I am saying, which would be a right month or time to do it. So, is it like फाइनेंशियल ईयर खत्म होने के बाद पहले या 1st January या आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड.
Sure, Gaurav. That's a very good question. And I'll rather than answer the question, I'll ask another question. And this is a question to everybody. How many hours in a month do you spend working? Okay. Please type in the chat. And it's an estimate. Now I don't need you to go back and look into your calendar and give me an answer. An estimate. How many hours do you work in a month? Or generally, how many hours generally people work in a month? 180 hours, 260 hours, 300 hours, right? Anybody else? Yes,
250
ma'am.
hours, 220 to 250 hours.
220 hours, 250 hours, right? More than 200 hours, mostly more than 200. 10 hours a day, 20 days a week, if you take 200 hours. And we are around, yes, Gaurav, 200 hours, right? And mostly we are working for money, right? How we are spending 200 hours in a month to earn a living, to make money. How many hours should we spend in managing the money that we have earned? Please type in the chat. Yes, 260 hours, 200 hours, 300 hours, 180 hours, 2 hours. 2 hours per week, okay? So if we are spending 200 hours in a month working and earning a living, making money, how many hours should we spend in managing the money that we have earned? 4 hours per monthly, 2 hours, okay? At least a few hours every month. Yes, Aparna. Maybe 5 to 10%. Gaurav, do you get answer to your question? 1 hour a week.
Yes.
Huh? So what is the answer that what 2% of your time for money, right? So if you're working 200 hours, 2% is 4 hours in a month, okay? Which is 1 hour a week, which is exactly what Shasha has written. So that is the amount of time we should devote for our financial planning, looking at the expenses, looking at the income, where is the income coming from, where are the expenses going. you would be surprised how much money that passes through our hands which we don't realize. So when you take out time to do this, many realization that comes up for us. Any other question or comment before we move on to assets and liabilities on income and expense? All right. If there is, you can make a note of it, and we can take it up later also. So now we just do a quick review of. This is a quote from Warren Buffett: "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." What did we study this as? What was the term we used for describing what Warren Buffett is saying? Please type in the chat. What was the term? This is the golden rule of personal finance. Yes, thank you, Gaurav. Golden rule of personal finance derived from Warren Buffett says that do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. It is not how much money you make, but how much money you keep. What does this refer to? Do you remember we discussed this in the last session? It is referred to as the rate of saving. If you are earning 1 crore rupees per annum, but you are spending 1 crore rupees per annum, your financial future is bleak. Okay. So it is not how much you make, but how much you save. I was, we have one of the participants in the previous batch, and she was sharing with me that her SIP amount and her maid's SIP amount is the same. Okay. It is not a joke. Come to think of it, if somebody is earning 1,00,000 of rupees and doing an SIP of 10,000 rupees per month, and a maid who is earning 20,000 rupees a month doing an SIP of 10,000 rupees a month, their financial future will be the same. So it is not how much. And the reason I am saying this, repeating this again and again, is because so many of us are chasing income. We are running after making income, but we don't pay as much attention as it came out in that small thing that we did, check we did. We are spending 200 hours earning money, but very less or hardly any time managing money. So it is not how much money you make, but how much money you keep that is important. So please remember this rule. We discussed about multiple sources of income. I shared my personal example of triangle, which is now I follow, and I have 3 major sources of income, and I would urge you all to also look at multiple sources of income. One more thing I would like to bring up here, which we didn't discuss earlier, is the difference between Government of India and an individual. The biggest difference between government, and this is, sometimes I get asked this the question when I do these sessions in corporates. Ashish, should we not spend money? What will happen to the economy if I don't spend money? If I save money, how will the economy roll? And all of those questions people ask. And one thing I would like to share with each one of you is running the economy is not your responsibility. It is government's responsibility. Let them print money and run the economy. You save your money and you may manage your finances. You can't borrow money, so a lot of people justify borrowing money that I am contributing to the economy. No, you don't borrow money to run the economy. Government can print currency to pay their loans, but you can't print currency to pay your loans. So be very careful about what you're spending. And lastly, the financial freedom question, which is how financially free are you? So take 2 minutes and calculate what is the passive income you have, and you can do more accurate analysis when over the weekend when you spend that 1 hour or 2 hours per week. But for now, an estimate of what is your passive income and what are your expenses. You might have done some calculation of your expenses when we talked about necessities. Maybe it is 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, whatever. And how much is your passive income? So suppose my passive income is 50,000 and my expenses are 1 lakh. So my financial freedom quotient is 50%. That means I'm financially free, only half financially free. So if my, so what is your ratio? Is it 10% passive income, 2 expenses, 20%, 50%, 100%. 1%, okay. Yeah, that, so for some people it could also be low because no, it will not be zero, Vasudev, because you will have FD interest, dividends, etc. That must be coming. So yeah, thank you, Monica. So it will vary, so you see, and uh, if you are like if you're investing in mutual funds and you have everything in capital growth option only, then your passive income will be low. But if you have shares, you will have some dividends coming in, and that also leads us, okay, so keep working on this question, because depending on what age you are at, you may have 10 or 20 years to accumulate income before your active income goes down, and then you have to depend on your passive income to meet your expenses. So keep this factor in mind as you are planning your investments. When you are, bring this up with your financial planners as you do your plannings. Okay. So how many sources of income you have? So please do a quick check on how many sources of income you have. If it is 1, 2, 3, it is important to know. It's not important how much income is coming, but how many sources you have. Okay. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What is the number? And if anybody is comfortable sharing, please type in the chat. We have done the second part, how much you are spending. Third is, what is your ROS? What is your rate of saving? So if you're earning 100 rupees a month or 1 lakh rupees a month, are you saving 10%? Are you saving 20%? Or are you saving 30% of that? Please type in the chat. Okay.
सर ये फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन बट हाउ मेनी सोर्सेज ऑफ इनकम, इसमें पैसिव है कि पैसिव और एक्टिव
नहीं,
दोनों
सब
हैं?
सारे सोर्सेस
आई हैव 3.
वेरी गुड. आप सोचिए उसको बढ़ा सकते हो क्या? आपके टीम में आपने स्पीकिंग का लिया है? जस्ट इफ यू गेट सम.
मैं एज ए पर्सनल फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर जो एक्टिव इनकम है
Okay.
और 2 आर फ्रॉम द वन ऑफ द डिविडेंड फ्रॉम the bond investment and in the that mutual fund investments.
Okay. Okay. So see if it is 3, how can you increase it to 4 or 5? If you write a book, you will have royalties coming in. Okay.
That is designing a course for online course.
Designing a course, LMS, all of that. So keep this in mind. 3 major sources of income and multiple small sources of income is good. What is your rate of saving? Okay, this is very important. We focus on rate of return or rate of return on investment, ROI. What is my ROI? But we don't look at what is my ROS. So rate of saving is also more important, and this is a significant contributor to building your future wealth. Any questions, comments? Is this?
Sir, can I ask something?
Yeah, Gaurav, just yeah. Aparna, your question is a perfect segue into the next session. So just hold on to your question. Yes, Gaurav.
Yeah. My issue is we don't get income in monthly terms.
Yes.
Okay. And it's bulk. It comes in bulk and it varies. So there are times when there is no income for 3 months, 4 months, nothing hits the bank account. But when it hits, it's something that takes care of, these 3, 4 months of lag
Correct.
and then plus something.
Correct.
So for us, how do we calculate these things? That is the challenge that I face most of the
So,
times.
yeah, no, that's a good question, Gaurav. So one thing is, first estimate how many sources of income you have. So you have commission income, you have rental income, you may
Yeah.
have some other dividends, interest, How many different sources of income you have got? Number one. Number two is, what is your rate of saving? Even if your income is not monthly and not regular, you can look at an annual period. So in an annual period, I earned say 10 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees. how much in a year did I save? Did I save 10, 20, 30 lakhs? Okay. So that is the kind of, you may not have a monthly rate of saving, you may have an annual rate of saving.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can work on that. So the Aparna asked a very interesting question on does this include, so your income from immobile assets. Sir, could you elaborate on your question, Aparna? Income is not from immobile assets. Okay, maybe it will get answered as we go along. We've done this. Okay, now we come to the assets, next part. Okay, an asset that we understand is, asset is something that we own. Correct? That is the definition of asset. But
Sir,
Robert,
one request. Can we have the previous screen for a second?
yeah,
Previous screen.
you can take a screenshot.
Yes, yes.
Okay. But there is a beautiful distinction that Robert Kiyosaki brings in the definition of asset. And he says that it is only assets which generate income can be qualified as assets. Okay. So what this means is, if you have land on which you're not doing farming, you've just invested in land and kept it like that, it is not counted as an asset because it just does not generate any income. So asset is not only something that you own, asset is something that you own which generates income. This is very, very fundamental to understanding wealth creation, that we need to have assets which create income. Okay, that is why a self-owned property is not counted as an asset from a wealth creation perspective. Okay, because a so if I'm living in a house which is say worth 1 crore, if I sell this house and put 1 crore in a bank or invest in markets, it will possibly generate 12 lakh rupees income annually. But the rental value, and I can rent the same house at 2,40,000 rupees or 3 lakh rupees, something like that. No, so there is an incremental 9 lakh impact that I'm having. This is something which is very important for us to understand. I'm happy to discuss this. If more clarity is required, asset is something that we own that generates income. Number one. The other thing that we need to understand is the two classification of assets that we have. One is physical assets, which include anything which we can touch and feel. Your house, land, gold, silver, and financial assets, just shares, mutual fund, fixed deposit, and insurance. Now, why this classification is important? Because physical assets are largely illiquid, like house and land. Gold you can still sell, but house and land is largely illiquid. And somebody who's in real estate knows that how illiquid property can get sometimes because of technical issues and some other things. Precisely at the time when you need money, you will find it very difficult to sell your house or land. And land also has the risk of encroachment. So you buy the land, then somebody, when you read, I don't know if you have seen this movie called Khosla Ka Ghosla, or something like, I think it's Khosla Ka Ghosla. Amazing movie. You please, if you've not seen it, watch that movie and you will realize the kind of risk that is there in owning land, right? And then you have financial assets. So typically financial assets like shares, mutual fund, equity shares, equity mutual funds are the highest return generating class. Fixed deposit is something for your emergency fund. But if you are planning all your investments in fixed deposits, you run a risk, and you have insurance, etc. So physical assets are illiquid, but also in that illiquidity, there is an advantage. And that advantage is that you don't, dig into this in times of emergency. Like Somesh made a very pertinent point, that whenever there is an emergency, we dip, into our fixed deposits, shares, mutual fund, we spend that money. But you can't just spend your house or land. So in that way, it becomes a better way to protect your wealth for long term. Illiquidity has some advantages also, if it has some disadvantages. And okay, I'll
Ashish,
just, yes, go on.
I would like to add something here. Now,
Yes,
since we are talking of physical assets, and physical assets include a house, land, and various kind of properties. So there is one more advantage of this kind of asset is that it grows in value most of the time. So there is a chances of capital appreciation also.
yes, it does. It does so much. I agree with that. So all these assets have differing rate of return, and land has differing shares have different rates of return. But yes, they have. Okay, uh, land capital appreciation may be there, but income may not be there. Okay, so that is something which we need to understand. Yes, jewelry by this definition will not be an asset, Aparna, because there is no income associated with it, unless you are renting. You, in the sense, somebody is renting jewelry. So then it will be, but otherwise no. So Mish, you were saying something.
No,
I
no.
want. I have a
I
question.
Sorry, Gaurav, you were saying something.
Yes. Where will things like if I own a small business apart from my regular this thing, will it be considered as a asset or how? My apart from my regular thing, so I'm into real estate. Apart from my real estate thing, if I have something going on with with couple of other partners or something, wherein I have invested money and they are taking care of the operations and everything, or something like that.
Yeah, so business is generating some income, Gaurav, which will be an active income. And if it has a value which you can realize by selling it off, then it could be a financial asset, right?
Okay.
If I have shares, if I have a 25%, suppose I am the owner of Policy Bazaar or XYZ company, and I have 25% shares. So I am doing a business with four of my friends, and I own this company which is worth $1 billion listed on the markets, just taking some names. And if I want, I can sell it. So that company will have physical assets and so many other things, but my asset is the investment ownership that I have, which can be liquidated. So I would put it as financial.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
ठीक है.
All right. So now we move to the next part, which is the liabilities. Okay. And again, we need to understand that liability is something which we owe, and there are different forms of liabilities: home loan, car loan, loans against property, shares, education loan, personal loan, credit card loan, etc. Now, what we need to understand about debt is that there is a good debt and there is a bad debt. Basis this classification, can you type in the chat which would some of these debts be a good debt or what would be a bad debt, without me explaining what good or bad means from your understanding? Home loan good, yes, because it's an investment. Car loan bad, very nice, very nice. Okay, okay. Bad debt will be rate of interest higher than your rate. Okay, okay. Yes, yes. Yeah, Pranath, that's right. CC is a bad. See, very
Education
good.
loan might be
Correct.
good.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So you are with me. Okay. So both all of you are largely on the ball. Okay. So any asset that we are looking at, any debt which creates assets is a good loan. Okay. So if I have taken and car is not an asset, I'm surprised that didn't come up. Deliberately, I had not put it, but car is not a good asset because it's a depreciating asset. So some of you know that I don't have a car, right? Because I don't want to invest in a depreciating asset. I use Uber, Ola, Rapido. So any debt which increases your earning capability is, or an investment, is good. Any loan that you take for buying a house is good loan. Okay. Any debt you take to invest in your education is a good loan. Any debt you are using to fund your expenses, consumption expenses, is a bad debt. So credit card debt, as Gaurav mentioned, is a bad debt. Personal loan which is used to finance consumption is a bad debt. And something, if you are borrowing at a higher rate to invest in something which is lower, can completely get you trapped. Then there are so many other challenges. We will get into that. Now, it is very important to reduce our debt to be financially free. And when it comes to debt reduction strategy, there are two strategies which are recommended by Dave Ramsey. One is you kick off the smallest debt first. So if I have, say, starting from 1 lakh credit card to 5 lakhs PL to 1 crore house loan, kick off the 1 lakh credit card first. Or the other is, start working on the highest rate debt first, which possibly would be credit card. Again, in this case, both the things would be same. Highest rate credit card is like 40% rate of interest. So start paying that off. Okay. The idea behind this is smallest debt first is it gives you a kick. It gives you a sense of win that you have knocked off one debt. You have one thing less to worry about. And highest interest rate debt is logical because you are reducing your interest liability. So that is how we should work on debt. And Dave Ramsey says zero debt. Okay, I consider him as my guru in personal finance. I learned a lot about personal finance from Dave Ramsey. Some financial planners argue against this and they say, no, you can have debt, you can, whatever. But personally, I'm not in favor of having much debt. So I have, and that's also because I have made mistakes. I borrowed money to invest in stock markets. Logically, it sounds very good, that you borrow at 8-10%, you invest in market which will give you 12-15%. But everything in life is not mathematical. Okay, and debt becomes a commitment, whereas stock market returns are variable. So it will be ideal if you can reduce debt or not build on debt. I'm not giving any advice here. I'm just requesting you to reflect on your own reality. And in this short duration, we can't make sweeping statements. But we can always connect one-to-one to see what your situation is and work on the debt in case you would like to. Life, yeah, I agree, completely agree. Thank you. So now coming back once again to this, the rich use income to create assets which create more income, and the poor, the difference is they use income to pay less expenses. So now coming as we come towards the end of this session, let's review some of the basic concepts. We have not this asset allocation that we want to talk about more, but one of the basic things is our asset should be more than liability. I don't remember the name of the CCD owner, but his liabilities exceeded the assets. So whenever liabilities exceed assets, it's a very challenging situation.
VG Siddharth.
Vijay Siddharth, yes, right?
VG Siddharth was the owner.
Yes, VG Siddharth, right? He, poor guy, I feel bad for him. Many farmers have more liability than assets, so they commit suicide. There are many other people, I don't know. So be careful about, and if you are borrowing money to invest in stock market and your stock market crashes like it happened recently in the time of COVID. So suppose you take 1 crore loan and you invest in stock market, your 1 crore loan will stand, but your assets are now suddenly worth 50 lakhs. So it can get you in a deep soup. So Always focus on having your assets more than your liability. That is one basic concept you should work on. Second is, which I discussed earlier also, last session also, focus on net worth. A lot of people are focused on the income, but the rich are focused on the net worth, which is asset minus liability. They are, because as you have seen in the previous slide, they are focused on creating assets which create more income. So they are focused on creating assets. Good debt, bad debt we have spoken about, and how rich keep getting richer. Now take maybe what, take 4 minutes to do a rough calculation on what your assets are like. You can do a detailed one later. What are your assets like? So calculate your house, uh, depending on whether you want to calculate include house or not, but house, land, whatever you want to include for now, without worrying technically about technicalities of it. Whatever is your asset, mutual funds, insurance, equities. Quickly list down all the physical and financial assets that you have with their market value. And your liabilities along with rates of interest. So credit card loans, personal loans, education loan, home loan, car loan, whatever loan, loan against properties, loan against shares, loan against gold, whatever you have got. And calculate your net worth. You don't need to share the number, but if you've got the idea and if you've got the number, just type done in the chat so that we know you are with the process. Or if you have any questions you want to clarify, you can unmute and speak. Done. Thank you, Monica. We'll wait for a few more responses. List down all your assets, list down all your liabilities, and calculate your net worth.
So my monthly salary is higher.
Sorry?
My monthly salary is an asset.
Monthly salary would be an income, it wouldn't be an asset, right? Asset is something that you own. Salary is not something that you own. Salary is income. The house you own is an asset.
Similarly with rent and all, right? So whatever rent I am paying for the office and all, that would go in the liabilities. Or no,
No,
those would be
that's an
expenses
expense.
basically.
That's an expense. Liability is your loan that you have taken. If you have any doubts about this, you can send your statements one to one. You can DM your assets and liability statements one to one, and I'll quickly comment on that. If you have, if you know how you are proceeding on that. But assets is anything you own. Now, our ability to generate income is an asset, but we can't quantify it. Okay, that's the biggest asset that we have got, and that is what you are doing. You are investing in your ability to generate more income. With all this income that you have got, all this investment that of time and money that you're doing in learning about managing money is an asset. You're increasing your capability to earn more, but that can't be quantified. Okay, good. So we'll move forward. So we have done basics of personal finance, which is income, expense, assets, and liabilities. And now we are moving to the last part, which is asset allocation. And this is the core to generating returns. Not many people, hardly any financial planner will come and talk to you about asset allocation. They, like I mentioned last time, they all promote their respective products without looking at it in totality for you. And that is why it becomes very important for us to educate ourselves on completely on where how much money should go. Most of us tend to have be dominant in one asset class. Okay, and there are many reasons for that. Like for me, 70-80% of my wealth is in property, and there is a reason for that. For some people, it 70-80% is in stock markets or 100% in stock markets, and that is because either your friends say that stock is best, so we go for it, or somebody does only land and they believe land is the best. Somebody does, like in South, many of people hold their entire wealth in metals, gold or silver, like that. So most of us have it, or some people have like fixed deposits as the massive asset class. So we, by nature, by behavior, we tend to be overweight in one class. But we have all heard this wisdom from ancient times that don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you are overweight in one category, sooner than later you may come up with a challenge. Like if you are overweight in, if you're all in equities, then think of 2001 or think of COVID or 2008 crisis when the markets crash. They crash like 30-40-50%, and suddenly your wealth is half. And if you are retired and you don't have any source of income, you may be hit very hard. Or if you have a liability at that point of time, which could be a children's marriage or uh, their education, one could be hit very hard. So, or if you in any other asset class, if you are in land and you're not able to, if all your money is in land, you're not able to sell, you could be hit hard, and so on and so forth, right? So it's also the why asset allocation is important is because performance of the asset classes sometimes is inversely correlated. So typically when these interest rates are up, equity market will be down. When equity market is up, interest rate will be down. And when there is turbulence in equity market, gold will be up, and so on and so forth. So the return cycles on different asset classes are not perfectly correlated. So if we have this proper asset allocation, then if like the equity war happens, then the stock markets crash, but gold will soar. So that way we can be protected. That is so for many reasons. This is very important. It protects the return. This is the best insurance you can have for the returns, for guaranteeing returns. Okay. So it is not again and again I'm saying don't chase returns. Plan your asset allocation, which is very important. And there are different ways to do asset allocation. One of the ways is, which is a thumb rule, is how much should you have in equity and shares is 100 minus your age. So if I am say 40 years old, then 100 minus 40, 60% I can have in equity, 40% in debt. When I grow older, I become 80, 20% should be in equities, which is 100 minus my age, 20% in equities, rest in debt. The other way which my father followed and worked beautifully for us is 50% in shares and 50% in debt. I lost my father at 94. That was also the time Harshad Mehta, scam broke out, and the markets tanked. But because he had, money in debt, it helped us tide through that time, bad times, and by that time, we needed, his equities recovered, and we were okay. Another way which I personally like is 45% in shares, 45% in debt, and 10% in precious metals and currency. So precious metals are gold, silver. I'm sure all of you are following the rally that is there in gold and silver, and it is unlikely that it is going to peter out anytime soon. So even at these levels, it may be good to. And anyway, it's only 10%. We are not looking at too much there. So that is the different allocation strategies. So I'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments on what we have discussed so far before we go on and do a recap. Are you with me? Did I go too fast? Did we do too much in too less a time? Or you're absorbing? Okay. Okay, let me then proceed with the final takeaways from the session.
सर इसमें रियल एस्टेट नहीं लिया सर आपने
कहाँ पे हाँ डेट और इक्विटी हाँ करेक्ट
एसेट एलोकेशन में
good point so there can be another model which I didn't talk about. It could be which will be like 20-25% in real estate, so 10% in metals, 20% 25% in real estate, so that will be about 35 and 65 equally between equity and debt. That will be another model. Good point. I'll update it next time.
मेरा रोजी रोटी का सवाल है इसलिए मैंने किया
हाँ नहीं so there is another reason I didn't put it because when you नहीं ठीक बात है. See when the millionaire when the banks and other financial institutions look at millionaires, they exclude physical assets. They look at equities and financial assets. So that was one of the reasons I didn't find there, but I'll include it. Your point taken. These are few of the things that we discussed. Financial assets and physical assets. What is the importance of having each, and advantages and disadvantages of physical and financial assets. The importance of having more assets than liability. We saw what happens when your liability becomes more. Vijay Malaya is another example. More liabilities, less assets, so he had to flee the country. Asset minus liability is net worth, and that is what rich are focused on. Assets is something which we own and which generates income. So car for me will not be an asset, but car for a cab driver will be an asset because it generates an income for him. Rich keep getting richer by investing, using their income to invest in assets that create more income. Education is the best investment. What I would like you to do is, I'm not sure if you have done this exercise earlier. Calculate the amount that you have invested in your education and calculate your lifetime earnings, which that education has helped you do it, and come up with how much returns education has given you. So everyone, please take out your calculators. Yeah, okay. What is the amount you've invested in your education? Your college fees, post-graduation fees, any other courses you have done, certifications you have done, and calculate your lifetime earning, ballpark. For now, you can refine it later. And share your return on education, ROE. Do you want me to share the formula in the chat, or are you with me? Yes. So you got 100% return, right? In 1 year. Now just calculate that figure, Vasudev, and calculate your lifetime earnings. So typically when people go for MBA education, I mentor students at IIM Nagpur, and there the course fees for 2 years is about 20 lakh rupees. So why do students invest 20 lakh rupees? Because the first job they will get is about 20 lakh rupees. So you invest 20 lakhs, you get 20 lakhs. So that's 100% return on investment, and that is just 1 year. So what you invest in 2 years, you get 100% of that back in 1 year. Look at lifetime earnings from the education that you have had. Are you doing these calculations? Please type done once you are done with the calculation. So the formula is ROE, return on education, is equal to lifetime. Monica has done it. Lifetime earning, lifetime investment in education, which includes your certifications. Anybody got a percentage other than Vasudev and Monica? The return on education. Education is the best investment. Thousands of percentage. Thousands of percentage. Okay. So that's the best investment one can make. Income should be more than expense. Income minus saving is equal to expense. More than one source of income, active or passive income. Look at your financial freedom quotient and good debt and bad debt. So as I mentioned earlier, this course is basis research that we have done on the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A very inspirational story. He is now worth more than $500 billion, self-made man. Yeah, 840%. Yes. Okay. Uh, so he attributes a lot of his success to understanding the financial the principles that we have shared. Dave Ramsey, I mentioned, amazing guy, a lot of content on YouTube you can find. He's written many books, and another amazing guy that we have learned from. So what is one thing that you will do differently? Some of you already have taken those decisions, some of you will do that. So friends, now we come to the end of part 1, and I will urge you to take maybe 3 minutes to review what we have discussed in the first session and second session, more so in the second session today, and then
So can you give the key takeaways का एक screenshot लेना था?
yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. So please take 3 minutes, and then we'll invite you to share your takeaways. Yeah. So college dropouts are, yeah, because they go for what Jim Rohn referred to as self-education, Aparna. You know, so like Jim Rohn says, education can make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. So that is why college dropouts, they're very smart. They invest in their self-education. Who would like to share first? You can raise your hand. Yes, Vasudev.
Yeah, for me, the learning today is on the good debt and bad debt part of it, and how that can result in a better return when I am looking at good debt and bad debt. And looking at the assets and liabilities part of it, this gives an interesting theory that now I will be looking in the next 5 years how to run my necessities with a passive income. I may not do it physically, but have enough sources to do it. Because recently I read something that people, what you call, They are having, they think that you can do many things in 1 year, but they don't think they can do things in 5 years.
Correct, correct.
So I want to make it as a 5 year plan to fulfill that my whatever is my expenditure that will get fulfilled with the uh,
Passive income.
assets, that is the passive income.
Very nice, very nice. That's a very good direction to move towards. Thank you, Vasudev, for saying. Whom would you like to invite to share next, Vasudev?
Yeah, I will invite Gaurav.
Yeah. And just on your point of the debt, good debt, and bad debt, one of the teachers I follow is Rajiv Talreja, Parnameno. And Rajiv often talks about how he has borrowed lakhs of rupees to invest in his in doing his training courses and programs, learning. And now he's one of the foremost trainers in the country, uh, and with maybe 100 crores plus net worth. And just about 10, 15, 20 years back, he was struggling badly and deep in debt. So when we are in financial trouble, we shy away from investing in education, but actually that is what you need at that time, and it changes fortunes like we are seeing, and most of you seem to agree. So thank you for sharing that, Vasudev. Yes, Gaurav, next.
Yeah. uh, First things first, two new people to start following on.
I couldn't hear you clearly, Gaurav.
Just a minute.
Yes,
Am I audible?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So first thing, two new people to learn things from: Dev Ramsey and Raju Talreja.
Dave Ramsey, Rajiv Talreja, Robert Kiyosaki, yeah, they're all
Yeah.
amazing. Warren Buffett.
And Robert Kiyosaki, I do follow him from 2000s, almost
Okay,
from two.
okay, okay, okay.
Um, but yeah, Dev Ramsey, I had heard the name but never tried to do any uh, this thing. Uh, Key takeaways would be uh, allocation of asset allocation. That would be one of the key takeaways, I would say. Uh, Good debt, bad debt. We had an understanding, but then there was not a crystal clear understanding. So ये कुछ तो है, good debt, bad debt, but understanding, okay, this is good debt and this is bad debt. ये थोड़ा clarity नहीं था, so that was something uh, key. And regarding Robert Kiyosaki, uh, uh, he has a value. I mean, net worth is huge, but then he's equally into debt. That is also true because of his investments in real estate. So, how I just wanted to have your perspective on this. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. No, that's a valid question. So there are both the types of people. One who use debt to invest and generate more asset create. Uh, like Dave Ramsey is driven by his experience, where he borrowed to create assets, and then the bank called for his loans, and he couldn't sell the assets to pay off the loans, and he became bankrupt. Okay, so that
Mhm.
is the experience which drove him for the rest of his life, and he said, "No, I want to live debt free." And then he also gives so many examples of people who have debt, and then they struggle big time throughout their life, just paying off debt or servicing debt, etc., etc. Like in US, education debt is like quarter of $1 million or maybe $500,000, depending on what kind of education you do. So if you're starting out with your life,
Yes, yes.
then with that kind of debt, it makes sense for you to pay it off the earliest. Otherwise, you're just living with, and then you have house debt, and then you have car loan, and so many other things. That is Dave Ramsey's view. And Robert Kiyosaki, as you rightly said, has used as a debt to create assets, which is perfectly fine. But then, how leveraged are you? Are you taking $100 million and creating $200 million, or if the property price drops? So, what is the margin of safety that you have got there in the debt and asset that you have created? That is something which is very important, Gaurav.
Okay. Okay.
So that
See,
that
and
how
another
much? Yeah.
aspect,
Sorry, go on.
uh, another perspective was for me is see these foreign let's say teachers or trainers when we are talking about Robert Kiyosaki or I haven't gone through Dev Ramsey's this thing. Uh, they have a mindset which will work in European countries or US or something, wherever they are belonging to. Okay. But they don't, things will not work similarly in India market. So we need to have that perspective also in place wherein okay, when Robert Kiyosaki says ki buy your buy real estate, so in foreign countries the ratio of what your income has to be and what your house has to be is 5x or 7x of your income, yearly income. Here it is 20x, 30x, 100x at times.
Yeah. Also, the
So
rental yields in
that factor
US,
also.
the rental yields are very different abroad. In India, your rental yields are very low. There, it is very high. So that
Yes.
also makes a difference. Yes, but valid point. Thanks for bringing that up, Gaurav. Gaurav, whom would you like to invite next?
I would like to invite Somesh.
Okay.
Thank you, Gaurav. Ashish, I think the biggest takeaway from today's session is the importance of financial literacy. If we talk about Indian perspective, we talk in Indian perspective, most of the people struggle their whole life with finances.
Correct.
Their whole life goes into paying EMIs or paying for their everything. But as far as their savings are concerned, or as far as their assets are concerned, they are very low on the scale. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
So I think, yeah. So what I was saying is that I think this financial literacy or the financial planning principles, or it should be made more, accessible to everyone.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
what I have seen is that why rich always become richer, and
Hmm.
why poor always remain, either they remain there or they become poor.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
biggest difference is that when a rich person thinks of spending money, of say they are planning to spend 1 rupees, then they will see how much they can get, whether they can make it 2 rupees or 3 rupees or not. That is their biggest criteria. But when it comes to middle class or when it comes to general population, they don't think this much. How this money will become from 1 to 2. They will just say that I will buy a Apple phone, or I will go to the uh, y- holidays, European holidays kind of thing. We don't think much. Matlab, I'm talking about the average person in India. They
That's
are
very
more
true. Yeah.
towards they are more towards spending money and later on think that जो होगा देखा जाएगा बाद में. But
Yeah. That. Yeah.
rich people's rich people's way of thinking is totally different than the normal
Correct.
people.
So,
Because I have come across, yeah, I have met many rich people in my life. And I generally note, I speak very less, but I note how they behave, how they talk, and what is their thought process. That is very
mm,
important to understand their thought process.
mm,
And what I have seen is that they are okay with spending money on their own, means money on their himself or herself or for their family. But when it comes to spending money for others, they are totally against it basically, and they are just looking at the rate of return. Okay, if
mm.
I spend this much money for this person, how much money or return I'm going to get? Maybe I'm wrong also. Maybe many will
Yeah,
not
so that's
agree with
a
me, but
slightly
that's the
different
thing.
perspective, Somesh.
Yes. Yeah.
But I agree with you. They think differently, and I realized it. This is my own experience, and I agree to your
Hmm.
point about financial literacy. It's very, very important.
Yes.
That is what
Yes.
Robert Kiyosaki speaks about. His father was highly educated but poor, and his rich dad was not so well educated but very rich. So, we learning about money is very important. And Robert
Yes.
Kiyosaki says it's a conspiracy. That
Hmm.
the rich don't want financial literacy to be a part of the curriculum, so that large portion of the a population can remain financially illiterate and keep working for those who are
mm,
rich, you know. अगर
mm,
सबको समझ में आ जाएगा कि एप्पल आईफोन खरीदने से मेरा फायदा नहीं होने वाला है, तो फिर एप्पल आईफोन खरीदेगा कौन, you know. so
right,
so
right.
as per him it's a conspiracy theory also. And we need to think about it, why it's not in the education. We spend so many hours working, but we don't spend any hours in learning about money management. So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that so much. Whom would you like to invite next?
Uh, I would like to invite Dr. S.C. Rao, C.S. Rao.
Dr. C.S. Rao. Yes. Dr. Rao might be at his clinic. Anybody at some? Dr. Rao. Yeah. You're on mute, Dr. Rao. You're still on mute, Dr. Rao.
Should I invite someone else?
Yeah, maybe he's just.
Sorry for the delay. There's a
Yeah.
technical
No, don't
phone.
worry. Yeah.
Uh, Today, what I picked up was debts. Good debts and bad debts. So I was of the opinion that all debts are always debts. In spite of that, uh, uh, we land up in inevitable debts like buying a house. It becomes a prestige. Uh, Investing on the house and the car, all
Yeah.
this stuff, which are really a bad debts, but no one listens, especially the parents and the spouse, children. No one listens to it, saying that no, we just need a house. so, so this is the thing, unfortunate thing. But anyhow, knowing it, we can always plan it in a better way.
Correct.
Knowing it, so I converted the so-called bad debts into an assets where I can mortgage for my children's education. That was one thing. So I would like to invite Monica Agrawal.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Rao. I think all the people have covered all the major points. So I just want to appreciate the way session was conducted by you, sir. I think as a personal advisor, I can vouch on that. That is the perfect blueprint to get a financial freedom for anyone in any age group or for any earning slab, whatever the earning slab you are coming under. That the one point is covered by the Mr. Gaurav, that the whatever the in the books we are reading, that is not fully implemented in Indian market and Indian people. That is really well said. That's why the people like me are coming in this field as a personal financial advisor by the SEBI registered. So we are perfect to set for the Indian needs and Indian mindset and the Indian requirements. Whatever our market, our real estate markets, our equity markets, and the needs of the people, and the culturally the people mindset is also there, that we like to spend it on the marriages a lot,
Yeah.
like few things are there like that आप फाइनेंशियल को खाली एक पैसे के हिसाब से नहीं सोच सकते. There are so many things around that, but the whatever you have shared, the exercises and the blueprint, that is for the very wonderful exercise for the self realization, first thing. then so that you can do those exercises for yourself and to be get self-aware.
Yeah.
Where do
Thank,
you stand? Where do you
thank you.
stand in each category? Yeah. In
Thank you
that,
for.
in expense, in yeah, in saving, whatever the earning, whatever the things. As the Mr. Gaurav have shared the Excel sheet, that is really very perfect way to judge yourself, to keep a track. That is a rough sheet. Because whatever you write, that is on your conscious mind. Otherwise, the things keep on evolving in subconscious mind. Whenever we write the things on Excel or in diary, something sheet, तो वो कॉन्शियसली एक ध्यान में आता है कि क्या अर्निंग आ रही है, क्या खर्चा हो रहा है, कहाँ हो रहा है, और
Correct.
कितने परसेंटेज पे इन्फ्लेशन से वो ग्रो किस डायरेक्शन में जा रहे हैं. जैसे मैंने शेयर किया एक वन स्मॉल एक्सरसाइज बट लास्ट ईयर एज यू नो माय पर्सनल सजेशन, तो मैंने आई कट ऑफ ईटिंग आउट इन द रेस्टोरेंट.
Hmm.
That is one small thing to implement the life as a family. I think longest time we didn't eat outside.
Hmm. Hmm.
That is the one thing, right? तो उसमें आपको बहुत सेविंग, वो सेविंग
Correct.
पॉकेट वी आर
Correct.
स्पेंडिंग ऑन द सेल्फ इम्प्रूवमेंट.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because we
Yeah.
want both of me and my husband wants to spend on the self improvement, so
Very
somehow
nice.
going to the movies, to the theater. तो
Very
ये
nice.
जो बकेट्स आपने नेसेसिटीज शेयर किया है, आई वाज राइटिंग डाउन ना,
Hmm.
तो
Hmm.
इसमें से आप शिफ्ट कर सकते हो अकॉर्डिंग टू योर ओन नीड. ये पर्सनल ब्लूप्रिंट बनता है सबका. देयर इज नो कंपैरिजन विद एनीवन. Your age of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,
Correct.
whatever you are earning, you are businessman or you are a employee. So that is the best way to judge yourself. Necessities, financial freedom fund, future expense, education, play, jar, or gift and charity. Firstly, you have to do the few exercise on your own. Then you can go to your personal advisor
Sure.
that they
Sure.
can go
Thank you.
through those sheets. Yeah. तो
Thank
उसमें
you.
है, I have also few tools, sir. If anyone requires any tool in the group, na, I will put the names of the tools in
Yes.
the group.
Yes.
So if anyone require, I will share those tools.
Yes. Please do.
Right?
And
Yeah.
whom would you like to invite next, Monica?
Mm, Actually, Rosina.
Rosina is not going to be speaking because you're.
I think all are covered, no? Anyone, is anyone
No,
left?
Aparna and Monica are remaining.
Okay, Monica.
Monica, what time did you come in? How much did you hear?
I came in a bit late, around
Okay.
9:15 or so.
Mhm.
The session was getting wrapped up, but during the summary and the learning session, I learned a lot. I'll go back to the recording and I'll see it. I'm sorry, I just came back home from office,
No,
so I
no
just
worries, no
joined in.
worries. Glad you could join, Monica. And could you invite Aparna to share?
Yeah, Aparna, you can go next.
Yes, hello. Hi, Ashish.
Hi.
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 Yeah, it was a very interesting session. I especially liked the bit on the asset allocation.
Mm.
That was informative. And I think overall, I think you covered like a lot of the good foundations and basics of, money management. There is still a little bit of nervousness in me to implement all this. It's, it looks like it's easier said than done. So I think it's more about in the nitty-gritties and in the details and the nuances of all of this. It looks like it's definitely going to be a journey and a process.
Yeah.
So yeah, little bit of hand-holding during that process would be helpful. Also, I had one question regarding the good, a good debt, bad debt. Uh, I mean, of course, if you can't pay your debts on time, then that becomes a bad debt. But a lot of times I've actually, like from a financial planner, heard that even credit card debt, if you can leverage it, it becomes good debt. If you pay it in a timely way and you pay it on time, increases your CIBIL score, and
Yeah.
typically they like your credit history and credit standing goes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So people are more willing to give you bank loans and business loans and personal loans. So that's sort of how I have also seen it. Granted, provided that I'm not expending too much on credit cards or whatever. But yeah, my understanding is that if you even take out a personal consumer loan or credit cards or whatever, as long as you're maintaining good standing in terms of timely payments, I believe it only helps build up your credibility as a payee. So I was wondering if that's bad debt then, or is that good debt?
So anything, uh, you're you're right in a way about credit cards,
Hmm.
because there are a lot of people who you spend credit cards to generate points which they encash later. You know,
Right.
so I've known people who have bought their cars on credit by swapping credit cards. You know, and then
Hmm.
use those points. So some people do that, but the point is, are we disciplined enough to pay
Hmm.
100% on the credit cards? That is one point. It increase, of course, if you have timely payments, the CIBIL score, etc., will be good. But is this the way to develop CIBIL score? No, there are other ways that it can be done also. And it is about habit that we get into. You know, habit of living beyond our income. That is the point.
Hmm.
So if my income is 100 and I'm spending 80, and that 80 I'm spending on credit card, it is okay. But if my income is 100, I'm spending 120 and I'm using credit card to spend, finance that 20. That's where the challenge starts happening. So that is
Hmm.
something we need to be cognizant of. And personal loans. So there was, like, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm a corporate finance student, and in corporate finance, what they teach us is, the most important thing is to manage cash flows. Okay, so if you are, as long as you are able to manage cash flows of the company, you're doing good. So I applied the same thing in my life, and I started borrowing to manage my cash flows. And but the challenge with that is, if you take one loan, and which is to fund your consumption, and then you take another loan to fund the EMIs of
More.
the loan that you have taken again. You're managing cash flows, but you're getting into a trap. You know.
Right.
So
Right.
those are the things which we need to be cognizant of before we start walking on this journey.
Hmm.
Uh, is that making sense?
Yeah, yeah, fair
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely to spend within your means is a very basic and fundamental, important
yeah,
point
yeah,
that we forget when we have access to credit cards. So yeah.
yeah. So that is why it's important to identify what is fixed, what is variable, what is discretionary expense. And if we
Yeah.
can manage our discretionary expenses, and Dave
Right.
Ramsey is like maniacal about not spending if we don't have money. He's maniacal,
Hmm.
you know. So nothing as per him is justified. If there is no income, you don't spend. Simple.
Hmm.
The only
Okay.
exception one could possibly make is the education debt. Other than that, nothing.
Hmm. Got it. Okay.
And it initially it may be like a bitter pill, Aparna, but over a period of time it becomes like amazing, because your whole the personality aligns, and the new one, like I was talking about, by being a minimalist. So the whole thing changes, and it is a completely different dimension.
Right. Right. Right.
It's not
Good.
uh, it's not depriving ourselves. It may look like I'm depriving myself, but it's
Hmm.
about choosing, being intentional about where we are spending our money.
True. True.
Because what I realized was, even when I'm spending like earlier much more, I was not as happy. I was just accumulating. And
Hmm.
today I'm not
Hmm.
accumulating, I'm giving away, but I'm happier. You know. So it's a state of mind more
Hmm.
than the possessions that we have.
Got it.
Sudha Murthy is also a minimalist, and there are many other people. Yeah.
Say that again. I couldn't hear the last bit.
Sudha Murthy.
Sudha Murthy. Okay.
Yeah. So she was one of the people who inspired me to get started on the minimalist journey.
Hmm.
So it's not about, some people think that, you're turning a minimalist because you don't have income. But look at Sudha Murthy. And she's publicly spoken that she has not bought anything other than food, medicines, and books in last 25 years.
Hmm.
So obviously, and she's like one amazingly vivacious person. You meet her and she's like all full of energy and happiness.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll look her up. Thank you for the reference.
Thank you, Aparna. So good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for participating and being engaged. But we'll stay active in the group for with any observations, challenges that you have. We'll connect Sunday 9 to 9:20 a.m. For a follow-up session, AMA session. Our next session will be on 29th. Other than AMA, the main session will be on, the core session will be on 29th of January, same time, 8 to 10 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Stay active on the group and keep sharing. Bye bye.
Thank you, Ashish.
Thank
Bye. Good
you.
night.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you, Ash.